Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. I'm Robbie.
I'm Jason.
And welcome to the table. Jason, I liked that. That was, he had, for those who are your audio listeners, Jason had like a hand motion going with it today. We're fired up. Jason, I will say before we start recording, I noticed you were drinking a Monster. Are you normally an energy drink guy?
I am not, but I'm a sappy father. And so Ryder's taking a road trip. Ryder's best friend from college is getting married in Panama City Beach, so he'll be actually driving by Birmingham tomorrow.
Let's go.
He's taking a road trip to drive down there. It was just easier. So he drove to my mom's house in Jacksonville. He's in Jacksonville now. He is a massive one of these drinkers. And so I'm like a sappy father. So to be connected to my son, I'm going to drink one every day. It's silly. It is what it is. I have my superstitions. And it's just fine. They're just expensive, right? They're unhealthy for you, even though I drink Dr. Pepper. It's unhealthy. It is what it is. But this is very expensive. So it's not bad. I can see why Ryder likes it. I used to be I used to have no problem drinking energy drinks. And I was always a Monster guy more than Rockstar to a small extent because they had grape ones and I'm a grape guy. But yeah, it's not bad. And it's 0 calories or it's 10 calories is 0 sugar. So
yeah. Did you go to the local Food Line and pick them up or?
Yeah. Okay. I went to Food Line and they were on sale as best it could be for what it is. So, but that's still
where it breaks you, I feel like, is when you're like, if you go to a gas station and you pick one up. Oof.
I don't buy anything at a gas station for that very reason. And I think I've told you a story before. It causes fights between me and Elizabeth because I will always pre-buy all of our snacks for a road trip. But when we pre-buy, she may not know what she wants. And we get to the gas station, she goes, well, I didn't want it yesterday, but I want that now. Here's my $3 bag of chips I could have bought for $1 at Food Line last night. Younger Jason caused a lot of issues. Older Jason, like, whatever, I don't care. If it's going to keep you happy, do it. But I can't buy the stuff at the gas station. But yes, I am drinking a Monster in honor of my board game playing son.
That's incredible. I love that. It's this episode drops on Thursday and it's Father's Day weekend. So we were talking, my wife and I, about, she was like, what do you want to do for Father's Day? And I was like, oh, I actually have to think about that now. Yeah. That's something. Can my answer be, I don't want to be the one to pick? Is that a valid response? So
that's my Ryder's driving back on Father's Day, but it's okay. It's the trade off of him, his friend getting married on the beach at Panama City Beach Friday night.
Yeah. Hey, that's a fun wedding.
So happy Father's Day to everyone who's out there if you're listening.
You.
And be sure to tell your father happy Father's Day in a couple of days.
True. But other true things are that sometimes, guys, one of the best things you can do with your father is play a board game. So Jason, what games you been playing lately?
I've only played 2 at the table. Just because of life, still a ton on BGA. I play a ton on BGA. I'm now at platinum. I'm at platinum with Castles and Seven Wonders and Kingdom Builder. I got very fast because I can get Kingdom Builder. Anyway, that's always my goal, to get to elite level rather. But the 2 games I played in person are 2 games that Elizabeth and Xander brought us back from Japan. I had a list of games I wanted them to buy, and they brought me back 4 games, and 2 have hit the table. The first one is called 1 a.m. Jailbreak. Now, I don't have with me, they're small card games, super light games. 1 a.m. Jailbreak is a card shedding game in which you're basically, it's kind of Scout-ish in that when you play, you're either playing a run or a set of cards. And that's just what you do.
Okay.
But if I played like a 1, 2, 3, on your turn, you have to play either, you could play 2 cards, 3 cards, or 4 cards. You have to play +1 or +- the number of cards that got played. So if I played 3 cards, you can play 2, 3, or 4 cards. And then, so if I play 4 cards, the next person can only play 3, 4, or 5, and you keep going up and down. And there's little functions you can do to put a card on the previous one. But the goal of it is to get rid of all your cards. And it's a 3-round game, and your points are just scored based on cards that you get, that you are in your hand at the end of the game. Super light. The artwork's very cute, very cool. It's actually maybe, we've only had Bards for almost 2 years now or whatever it is, and I still keep talking about I want to do stuff for our channel. But 1 a.m. Jailbreaks, the Japanese import, you can't get it in America right now. It's eventually going to come to America, and there's not a single how to play of 1 a.m. Jailbreak anywhere that I can find. And so like, I told Nate this the other day, I was like, I really just need to make one, even just a decent quality, cause you could do this in 10 minutes and like put it out there. Cause be the first at least maybe. So I've actually been thinking of how I would teach it, like how I would set, cause I'm just going to do it on my iPhone just cause that's quick and easy. So I may be doing a how to play 1 a.m. jailbreak cause no one else has done it. There's one video of them demoing it at a convention, but it was like a minute and a half of gameplay. And then there's somebody who does playthroughs, which isn't a teaching. It's not bad, but there's someone who does actually a playthrough. But that's it. There's no like, it's a super light game. So you're not going to see Rodney Smith or any of the big guys do this one because it's so light. Yeah. But having one to explain it would be cool. So that may be one that may be the first thing I do for Bards of the Board proper other than our podcast. Yeah. So that was one of them. Go ahead.
So here's an idea. I'm going to throw this out there. Is there a world that we start going back through some of the games that we have like covered and do a how-to on it? Because I feel like if we have listeners who are trusting us to listen to the podcast, they probably would trust us to like teach the game.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, if we can figure it out, we'll have to talk about that. And you let us know in the comments, guys, if it's something like, but if we could figure out a way to streamline it, like it's maybe we sit down when like we're together and it's just we set it up and we just go bam and like crank out a bunch of them.
Yeah. And it's not a bad idea. Like, cause it's once I figure out how I want to do the recording and everything about how to play, right? Cause I don't have the overhead camera, all the fancy stuff. I'm a long way from anything like that, but a good, clean, easy to follow way. Doesn't got to be super high tech. Those are nice, but bells and whistles aren't required, but it's just so that someone could literally watch that 10-minute video and walk away and go, no, I know how to play. I agree, but in a bigger scale, if we could ever get that really going, it'd be fun to do a how to play before we like. I could just do the how to play, or maybe you take a how to play, one of us, and then we drop it the same day and be like, hey, if you want to see how to play, go reference this other video, and that way they can listen to us, then go watch the how to play, or vice versa. Definitely not a bad idea. It's me working through, okay, what's the process going to be? Like, what is the easiest way? And it'll be refined many times. As you know, as a YouTuber, I'm sure you've refined a lot of stuff, even how I set my basic stuff up for here. I have it down to a T, but I mess with a lot of different things now. And now I can get ready in like 10 minutes because I don't have my stuff always set up. I have to put it up. So 1 a.m. jailbreak, super light. And like, you play it in like 10 minutes. It's nothing. You play it over and over. But it was a fun game. From a designer named Sashi and Sashi. The other game we played was actually a game that James referenced, James Hudson, owner of Jewish City Games. He referenced a game called Nana that actually you can get released in America called Trio. The exact same game. The artwork is Day of the Dead artwork, $15 game. Super cool. Like it's Trio is a really good game, but it's basically like a Go Fish memory game is the best way to describe it. Because on your turn, you're trying to make sets of 3. You're trying to make 3 1s, 3 2s, 3 3s, 3 12s, whatever it is. The cards go 1 to 12. And on your turn, there's 8 cards in the middle, 6 or 8 that are face down. And that could be, Robbie, show me when you ask, you're basically go fishing by asking somebody, show me your highest or lowest card. So I ask you, show me your highest card. I don't say, do you have a 12? Show me your highest card. Maybe you flip it over and it's a 10. And I go, okay, Hannah, show me your highest card. If her highest card's a 10, now I'm just trying to find the other 10. And maybe if my highest card is 10 in my hand, well, I just made a set. But if I have 11 and then the 10, well, now I know where the 10s are. And so now I've got to get that 11 out of my hand somehow, right? And somebody else may pull that. So it's a Go Fish type memory game. And as a hardcore gamer, that sounds horrible, but it's amazing. James talked about it. All these game reviewers love Trio and Nana, and we had an amazing time. We played it 3 times in a row because it plays so fast. And it was me, Elizabeth, Ryder, Hannah, and Will, and we laughed our heads off because there's memory to it. And more than once, we're like, because you would ask somebody, okay, show me your highest, and you realize it's 12. And later on, you're like, you've already forgotten that Elizabeth had the 12. Show me your highest. And so you start laughing and making fun of each other because you forgot that, because really good gamers were like, okay, that's a 3. I got 3. Okay, you'll start gaming it, but then you forget. And at one time the other night, Ryder and I turned over the same card in the middle, and it had been the 3rd time it'd been turned over. But the second 2 times we had already forgot what the card was because you could, instead of asking somebody to show me your highest or lowest, you can turn over any card in the middle. Go Fish Memory and is amazing. Like it is just so good. So if you Trio to me, like if somebody asked me a good starter game to play, I would say go buy Trio right now. It's too light for us to cover as a standalone episode. $15 is the full price. Buy Trio today. I'm going to buy it for my kids just so they don't play Nana, because mine is the Japanese import and I do not want them messing with my game. They can play it with me. So I'm literally going to buy Trio to let just randos play, like my kids or whatnot, because it's the exact same game. TRIO, get on Amazon right now for $15. But Nana is just, you would never hear a gamer say, oh, it's basically, Go Fish combined with memory, and it's amazing. So
yeah. So that's how you know, ladies and gentlemen, if you ever get to Jason's table and you get to play, you know that you're in the trusted circle when he pulls out.
Yes.
Like if you sit down and you see Trio, what that tells you, Jason doesn't trust you. It's just a reality. And then if you see Nana, you're like,
you're in.
Welcome to the inner circle, ladies and gentlemen. That's where it's at. I love that. Love that. Over on my end, it has been, I actually have had a large amount of time to play games, but we've played one game and it's a new format. I think I mentioned it, that like I had been teased into it. But I have finally cracked the seal and gotten to play hours of this, because man, this game can take hours, is Magic the Gathering Commander format.
Yep. So
for those of you you've probably heard of Magic the Gathering. If you're listening to this podcast, you've definitely, I would be shooketh if you've never heard of Magic. But the most popular card game in the world, it's been around for 30 something years. And in Commander, you're playing 1v3, essentially. It's a free for all of usually 4. And then they have games that go up to like 7 or 8 players. That sounds ludicrous to me. I cannot imagine playing an 8-person game of Magic, but it exists. So so in Commander, though, you build this deck that has 99 cards that are singletons. So every single card is unique, and then your commander kind of drives the whole purpose. So what's been fun about this is, Jason, you've heard about Commander. I think you've even mentioned before that like Xander was really into it.
Yeah, I played Commander 5 or 6 times. So,
okay.
Yep.
So really enjoyed it. I have now, one thing about like inside of the gaming, the TCG trading card game community, is that proxies are this like super polarizing piece inside the community. And proxies meaning that I don't have the actual card. I have like a printed version of the card.
Yep.
So in competitive formats, proxies are almost always forbidden, because if we're playing for money, we're playing for prizes, whatever, TCGs are, there's skill expression inside of them, but it is the most pay to win experience that you can have. Like if I have a very, very expensive deck and you have a starter deck that you paid $10 for, you're going to have to play out of your mind and draw out of your mind in order to beat me on my really good deck. That's just the reality of it. So proxies are polarizing for that exact reason, because, hey, I have, like in Lorcana, there was a Tamatoa card that came out last set, and it was like $60 to buy one of these Tamatoas. And you could play 4 of them in your deck. So instantly, if I want to play this really good card, my deck value has gone up dramatically, and I only have 4 of the 60 cards. Understandable. So proxies can get really expensive. And inside of Magic, because it's so old, the cards, Jason, are insane. Like there is, land helps you pay for your, like, it's the mana that lets you cast your cards. There is a land, Jason, that's just a dual land. It represents 2 colors.
Right.
It is over $800 for one card. And there are people who play their decks with that $800 piece of cardboard just inside.
Crazy.
With the rest of the 99. That's ludicrous to me. I cannot imagine one $800 card. That's not even like some special rare art or collectors. Like it is a collector's item, but people are playing with it. Anyways, so I played, and my group has decided, like, for Commander, it's super casual. And because none of us we all are playing Lorcana still, we don't want to invest like a ton of money into Magic because we're not trying to play competitive Magic. So we've just agreed that like proxies are good to a certain point. Like you can't over proxy your deck. So we don't want you putting the $800 land in there. But you can mess around with it accordingly. So we've had a couple nights. My friend Ryan got into it and he built a Doctor Who deck because there's like a whole set inside of Doctor Who. Are y'all Doctor Who fans? At your house?
Surprisingly not. Of all the geek things in the world, we've watched a little bit of Doctor Who, but if there's one geek thing in the world that I have never got into that I kind of regret being a certified geek and proud geek is Doctor Who stuff. So I know the gist of Doctor Who, but not the depths of it. I'd love to get into the depths, but no.
Yeah, it was cool because I think that's a fun thing about Magic is that like he built his deck so he's like playing with the 10th Doctor and he's controlling time and the whole deck is like revolved around time. So Ryan, like first game he ever plays was doing this like crazy complicated stuff. It was sick watching like how much control he had of the board. That was incredible. And then like on the other side of the board, my friend Andrew is playing this deck that just spawns rats everywhere. And these rats all empower the other rats. And you're like, all right, cool. Then I'm playing like these dragons everywhere. But then I had another deck that I've built that's D&D flavored. So there's 99 cards and 40 of them have me roll a D20, 20-sided die.
Yeah.
And that, depending on what rolls, a certain effect happens. And like it came down to I almost won the game that we played because I hit a nat 20 on one of those dice rolls and I just cleared the board for everyone else. And then it was like, oh man, my little meme deck is going to we got a shot here, ladies and gentlemen. What are we doing? So I will say Commander it is the most fun that I've had playing a card game in quite some time. Just because there's so much insane stuff that you can do. There's just so many cards out there. Right. Is that it really the hard part is we've talked about this in trading card games before, and kind of why I feel like you kind of don't enjoy TCGs is there's just so much depth to them that how am I supposed to strategically prepare for what's around the corner? Yeah. And I think what I've just embraced in Commander is that like I have no interest in like doing anything with this long term, and therefore I just am going to have to always be prepared that chaos is waiting around the corner. Yeah. Like I'm just going to have to spend some time reading other people's cards and embrace it. And once you like do that, like Ryan with his like time deck, I play all these dragons out and then Ryan just destroys all of them. And I was like, oh, that's tough. Well, I don't know how many times he can do that. So the next turn I play more dragons. And then he does it to me again. And I was like, okay, now this is interesting. Do I just keep doing this and see if he just has more answers or not? I don't know. So very, very fun. It's also been fun just seeing like there are so many, you talk about geek things. There are so many people who play Magic that I just have no idea play Magic. Like all the swanky guys, Reed, they all play and are having a good time. So.
I know because even when they were here last year, they're talking about and when if I was around good friends who played it, I would happily play it and get into it. But I don't want to go find existing friendships like playing with you. Happily do it. If I'm near the swanky guys, I'm playing in a heartbeat just to hang out with those guys. But I don't want to go find new friends through that. And it sounds worse than I mean it to sound. I'd rather just go find friends for that. So yeah, we played it a few because Xander got into it his freshman year of college, so I bought all of us decks. And then we played a few times with him. And then, last time we played, ironically, was we went on Elizabeth, Xander and Ryder had Busch Gardens annual passes. And on one of our trips over there, we took the Commander deck and because we had 4 decks. And so, the 4 of us just played. I was trying to find the photo, like on the bed in the hotel, we were playing Commander, and I can't remember which deck Elizabeth had. But it was one that it just started rolling for her, and she just started destroying everybody. I don't know if it was a one where she was rolling a die or not, but she just methodically, Xander's like, she's going to win because if we can't stop, and she was just pulling everything out. Yeah. And that's the fun, right? If you're with friends with that, And if your friends are nice to you and don't try to if you're getting into those kinds of things, always like try to be with friends who are nice and who will win, but not destroy you just because they can. Because there's people in the magic world who do that and they suck. They kind of suck. They suck. But if your friend destroys you every time and says, get good, you need to question if they're your friend or not when you're trying to learn the game. Right. So
totally.
Because a good friend will still beat you, but maybe not go overboard with destroying you. So no, I say it all the time. I totally get why people enjoy that. And again, if I'm playing with friends and you just give me a commander deck, okay, let's go. Because you're playing what you draw anyway. It's the same way. Like you may know the cards, you may try to fish through your deck, but in the end, if you're not pulling the mana, a land, or if you're not pulling the water, is it called water?
Islands,
sea?
But
islands. Okay,
yeah.
That's cool.
It's a fun, and like you said, if you're, and it's fun. I will say one aspect that I think intrigues me is the politicking of Commander, which is where you're like kind of vibing back and forth on like, okay, that person seems like they're getting big. I can handle that person.
Yeah.
Are you going to attack me if I help handle that person?
Yep.
And then you have people that just have to serve. Like Ryan had to board wipe me because I did this disgusting combo that took everyone from like 35 life to all of them were like single digits in one go. Yeah. And I was still in the 30s. And it was like, okay, I went from doing nothing to I'm going to win this game easily. I deserved all of the hatred coming my way because dragons be dragoning. So it was a good time. Really enjoyed it, but obviously not a Magic podcast. There are a billion of those out there.
Sure.
I refuse to start listening to Magic podcasts because that is too deep of a hole. But we do have in a less scary world of trying to dive into all that. We have a fantastic game today. Going back to the world of co-op, which we have only done a handful of times. Jason, do you want to tell us about today's game?
Yeah, today we actually talked about last week and in multiple previous episodes now, but it's Horrified. So Horrified, released in 2009, designed by Prospero Hall, same folks that did Villainous from our previous episode, published by Ravensburger. Prospero Hall is the design team for Ravensburger, so same. And then released in 2019. That's interesting. When I wrote that down, I didn't think about how old Horrified is, because Horrified is a really good game. It feels relevant. It feels like this exact game could be released today. You'd be like, I understand why it's released today. 1 to 5 players, plays in 60 minutes, which is fairly accurate, where you're playing solo or up to 5, because the way the game pushes, you're going to be done in that hour time. You're either going to defeat the monsters or you're going to lose. Horrified is a epic. I copied and pasted this from someone else's decision because I thought it was great. Horrified is an epic, old school horror movie classic boxed up as a cooperative adventure game. And it's so true. In Horrified, each player is an investigator tasked with hunting down and stopping a variety of sinister creatures taken from both the page and the silver screen. You'll hit monsters in the base game, this game, such as Dracula, Creature of Black Lagoon, the Mummy, Frankenstein's monster, or his bride. Each of those creatures has a specific method by which they can be brought down, specific tasks you have to accomplish to beat them. But doing so will require cooperation, planning, and a little bit of cunning because of the way the game goes. Each player's turn consists of 2 phases, the hero phase and the monster phase. So it's if you think back, I'll step back. If you think back Pandemic, this is a very Pandemic-like game. And even Marvel United, because on your turn in a cooperative game, you have a few actions. Every player has those same actions. They choose the order in which they do those actions. Those actions for Horrified includes moving to a set. Excuse me if I could talk and slow down. You can move to an adjacent space. You can guide villagers who are non-playable characters who come out to adjacent spaces. You can pick up or share items. Items are used to complete tasks or beat monsters. You can complete tasks, which are, we'll go in more detail, but you have to complete tasks to defeat the monsters, to be able to defeat a monster. And then you can try to defeat a monster. Then also, you're also playing as a unique character. And there's multiple characters you can choose in the game. And each character has a special action as well. And a couple of those are adding strength to an item or moving a different hero or villager. So you can just move anybody on the board. Each of the characters has a different special action. So you're taking, the number of actions you're taking are dictated by your character. Some characters can take 3 actions, some can take 4, some take 5. So that's a unique thing in Horrified, whereas in Pandemic, everybody takes 4. In Marvel United, everybody plays a card. In Horrified, it's different by character. During the monster phase, so that's the hero phase. During the monster phase, you're going to draw a monster card, which basically shows what the monster is going to do. It may add villagers to the board. It may move the monster. The monster may attack. The monster may move towards other people. Play continues this way until either you've defeated all the monsters, as in you've completed tasks that you know that you're supposed to complete and to defeat the monster, or, excuse me, the monster's deck is depleted. That deck you're pulling from the hero during the monster phase is depleted. You automatically lose. Or there's a terror track that happens when villagers, each time a villager dies or each time you die, a tracker on the terror track moves up. If the terror track ever reaches the end or the monster deck is depleted, you automatically lose. The moment you defeat the monster or monsters on the board, you automatically win. That's how you play Horrified.
Yeah. It's just like phrase. I think that it's I've never really thought about it this way, but it makes sense. Even as you mentioned in the, like, okay, Pandemic feels this way, Marvel United feels this way. Whenever you're playing a cooperative game, especially when the board is trying to do something, that's just, the board almost is an additional player that you have to factor in for in most of these games. So that's why they all sort of feel that same vibe. Yep. And I would say where you end up with these unique sort of PvE or player versus environment or the co-op games where you are trying to beat a board, like that's where something similar to, what am I thinking of, Dead by Daylight? Yes, Dead by Daylight, where it's cooperative to a point, but I would say those are one versus many is probably the better way to describe them versus co-op. Yeah. So just I think you find your flavor on where you like, but I do enjoy any time that you can play a co-op. I love how that difficulty meter can be adjusted all throughout it. So very, very fun. And we'll talk about that as we go in. So thinking setup and teach. What's really fun about this is that there are so many choices in just how you want to do the setup, because like Jason mentioned, there is a multitude of monsters available as well as a multitude of characters that you can play. So I'm sure, is there some like, are you supposed to pass out the characters you play at random, or is there a draft possibility? I don't know what the like actual rules.
It says random. The rules say random, but the more you play it, if you want to, we probably did random the first few times we played, but the more you played, if you like certain characters, knock yourself out. But the rules definitely say random. And then the rules also talk about the difficulty of the monsters. It says for your first game, play this, or if you want to ease your game, play this. If you want to stand, like even in the rule book, you can change. It talks about how you can change the difficulty that you're referencing.
Yeah. So, in terms of, you're setting up, the board is going to be pretty stock. There's some randomness to it in terms of those items that get placed throughout the board, where the different villagers are going to start, which villagers are going to start in certain places, where you want to start can adjust. It's very unique. And I think what's fun, kind of bringing the theme into this as well, is that I just feel like the monsters themselves are themed so well, and the map that is the board is so, it has all of these different features that I think if you think about this cast of characters like the Invisible Man, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Wolfman, the Mummy, Frankenstein's monster and bride, that's a lot of characters to work into one board. And it seems to do it extremely well without giving too much credit one way or another, that you're like, oh, you can tell that they really wanted the Creature from the Black Lagoon. Yeah. And they just kind of like threw the Invisible Man in there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very cool because it's balanced for what each of some of the monsters are harder than others, and it specifically shows that, right? And they're all Universal Studios, Universal monsters. So like, even I didn't realize that these are all like characters from the Universal Studios movies, the Mummy, Frankenstein, and all that. But what's interesting, what Roy's talking about when it comes kind of the thematics of it are for, and when I talked about how to play, I didn't go in specifics because it's hard to really explain it. But there are items that you pick up on the board. They're either red, yellow, or blue. They're just it could be a gun or a book, or like this one right here is a stake. And so they're just different colored, and they have a number on there. and completing different tasks requires you to basically turn in, you may have a task that's turn in yellow adding up to 6 or blue adding up to 5. So you're trying to gather those items that in the numbers go from 1 to 5. I think the numbers are actually on the items. And so you go to a place and turn that and take that action to do that. But for example, I think we played the base game Creature of Black Lagoon. You're actually moving, for our YouTube folks, you can see it shows the color. So you're turning in items that match the color to move this boat basically to get to the creature. And then once you actually complete this mini game, every single monster has a mini game you're trying to complete. Once you do that thing, now you can go attack that monster. And so you're trying to avoid the monsters, not get attacked during it. But thematically, for the Wolfman, you have to go to the laboratory, which is a place on the board, place blue ones on a blue item on a spot that matches the item's strength. So there's strengths 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. So you have to go to this spot, turn in that item, but because you're trying to cure the Wolfman of his stuff. For the Mummy, you're doing scarabs to lock him back up, and you have to. The Mummy has a very unique puzzle thing on it. And so the Dracula, you're going and technically going into destroying. He has 4 different coffins across the board, and you have to go to these 4 different spots and basically destroy the coffin so he can never go get out of the sun. And then you can go attack Dracula. So it's such a cool thing that you're moving around the board, saving villagers, trying to avoid monsters while also gathering items, going to those places, and basically playing a very easy mini game.
Yeah. And the mini games, I do like how the mini games are probably the thing that scale the most in terms of difficulty would be my guess. And I think about, like Jason mentioned, when we played, we did the Creature from the Black Lagoon. So you're moving these things around. So you don't want to overload one person with a bunch of items, because you all need those items to attack certain monsters and like finish their task. So there's also, and you have a limited amount of actions. So as you're moving around, you get to really gamify this. And all right, I originally wanted to be based on my guy's superpower, his special power. It probably makes sense for him to be doing blank, but I keep getting scared away or running away from the monster that we're trying to defeat. Well, the monster's not vulnerable yet. So the monsters are designed to like chase after a certain player. Like I think they move in like direction of like the closest player.
Yeah,
I'm remembering that right.
The monster cards you pull out may dictate that, but absolutely. Yeah.
So you kind of have to also bait them in. And man, the more that I think about the description you read of like, it is a epic old school horror movie classic boxed up in an adventure game. That's so good at describing this, because in almost every monster movie ever, right? The first time they encounter the monster, what do they want to do? They want to like get rid of it immediately, or someone dies, someone goes away. And when that happens, that increases the terror level. Well, usually that someone is going to be one of the villagers who comes across them, and you just can't save them. And it's like, sorry, Bob, you're gone. And terror level increases. So then the heroes all have to gather around and figure out how to defeat the monster. And they have to get things ready for this epic final showdown. You felt that through and through. And as you're getting, because that win condition is either the horror track getting to a certain point or the deck running out. I remember us looking at it, me, Elizabeth, and Jason saying like, okay, there's this many cards left. Okay, we kind of have to get after this. Like we have to, there is this timer built on it that is really, really solid. So I very much, the theming, I don't know that the theming could be better.
Yeah,
because there's minimal dice rolling, but the deck involves this like randomness element.
I agree. And so in our show notes, I put it could be other stuff, but this still hits really well. Like you could do cops and robbers and other things, but Robbie just encapsulated it so well. Because if you think about a monster movie or monster story, you're trying to defeat that monster, so you have to take actions. I have to get a gun. I have to go destroy the thing. I have to go get on a boat. I have to do that. But I also have to protect villagers. So I'm also, one of my actions could be to move a village or someone else. The different characters have different abilities. So for example, the archaeologist can pick up items from an adjacent space because the archaeologists have skills to do those things. One of the actions is picking up an item, an archaeologist can do it from an additional space. a courier can move people around for free. Like the kid who's a courier can do those things. The scientist can add strength to any item because they're scientists and they can figure that kind of stuff out. But within the confines of what a movie is or a story is, you're trying to protect the villagers. You're trying to solve the mystery, find the monster's location and take actions there, and then defeat the monster. It's dead on. You're not scared necessarily. It's not like you're turning off the lights and you're scared because Drax can get there, but you feel the tension of seeing, oh wow, he's moving towards me. And you can discard items. If a monster attacks you, you can discard items to avoid the damage, but you may want to hang on to your items because you really need to do that later. But if he attacks you, it goes up on the terror track. So you have this debate of, okay, am I going to hang on these items or get rid of it so I can counter his attack on me? But now I got to go pick up more items. So there is good tension there. Exciting tension, especially for the easier game, because we kind of saw the path we were going to win, but we wanted to go through that. But we have played, when we first got the game, we played a harder one that we didn't come close. Like for Frankenstein's monster and his bride, you have to get them to fall in love, which is just an interesting, there's a dial that you have to do things and you want them, but they can't be together until a certain point. And then once the dial gets to the right thing, then they can be together. That's your goal of the game, is actually make them get together. So that's very interesting as well.
Yeah. I think that it kind of tags into the replayability of it. I think that what's really fun about the replayability is the random setup of the game automatically affects the replayability, because certain items being placed at random closer to where an obstacle, like if these items are going to be what's used to break Dracula's coffins, I think you can only have red items that break Dracula's coffins. So if you end up in a world where the red items are not as present near the coffins, that instantly makes it harder or easier depending on setup. And so that changes it. If you have Dracula and Frankenstein in the same game, that's different than Dracula and Creature from the Black Lagoon, which is different than Creature from the Black Lagoon and Frankenstein, right? And as Jason mentioned, you can ramp it up to where there's even more monsters. I think that was when we finished. It was like, okay, that was a blast. I really enjoyed it. I could see a world that you just play it back to back. Like, okay, we played those two. Let's set those creatures to the side and let's just draw two more and see what happens. Especially while you're in it on the immediate after.
For sure. And when we played it, we played on the easiest setting, and you have three really good gamers who can work really well together and see the board and strategize what those things are for. It's meant to be the novice game. It's meant to be the introductory game. We play the characters that the book says introduced to, and it was great. It was exciting. I think after we played, I forgot how good Horrified really is, because it is so, the rules are super simple. The player aid is black and white on what you do. Like the rules and actions. Now there's a few actions you can do, but they're very easy. The turns are pretty quick. Even though you're taking multiple actions on a turn, they're actually pretty quick. And then, which also makes, because of that, newer players can embrace it, as well as more experienced players can embrace it because of that. Because of the replayability we talked about. The game length is always 60 minutes. So if you're a guy who doesn't want to play a super long game, it can be really fast because you could all die really quick, or you could defeat the monsters. And whether you're playing one player or five players, because the monsters are still going to move just as fast as they would normally. Like there's no special thing there. So the game is going to go it's going to be 60 minutes or less, unless y'all just over talk about it. But among all cooperative games, this is one you have to talk about. Okay, well, I'm going to go here, and then we can trade out, and I'll give you this red hammer that's a 4, so then you can go do this because you can move there for free. A lot of games, a lot of talking, encouraging. It's a cooperative game, but a lot of easy discussion along those lines. And it's any cooperative game, it forces you to work together for that. And if you don't, you're not going to win any cooperative game if you don't work together. And it's like also with like any cooperative game, there could be a quarterback on it. But so assuming there's not somebody trying to tell everybody what to do, which again, you've heard me, if you've listened to me before, Elizabeth hates that. Anybody talking about what she should do. So we just kind of let Elizabeth do her own thing. But it's a good one for similar to Pandemic and Forgotten Island and all of those cooperative games. It is a good teaching method on how we can work together for those things.
Yeah. I like that. I think that it is, and there's not like, so because we talked about at the beginning where there is a sort of, movement happening where the players move and then the monster moves. Players move, monsters move, things like that. The analysis paralysis curse of any sort of game like this, where you're trying to min-max and you're trying to think about every possible solution and all of that, even if you're quarterbacking, it's tough because there's only so many things everyone can do on each turn. Yep. So it's like all it takes is one person going out and saying like, hey, I'm just going to go do this. And they do their 2 or 3 actions. The turns can feel very linear because there is very clearly, this is the best choice to have happen. Right. And a lot of the information is out there. So it's not like I'm receiving this hand of power-up cards that, oh man, are super hidden and they're game changing and all of this. There are some bonuses and things, right, that help you make some adjustments and make some big saves, which is really cool. But like Jason mentioned, you're communicating those things. So the turns go really fast. And then because the monsters are they're going to do blank, 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 then it may take, let's say it's like 2 or 3 minutes for you to sit there at the beginning of each round and be like, okay, we have to do this. Dracula just moved here. Creature of the Black Lagoon moved here. Bob is definitely going to die this turn. Do we want to go save Bob, or are we okay with Bob getting sacrificed? Okay, I think we're all good with Bob getting sacrificed. Awesome. What do we want to do with that information? Everyone does their thing. Mm-hmm. Bang, bang, bang. Your turn is about as fast as you can make things move. Like it's not some, you're going to wombo combo and bang, 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 bang. My turn just took 4 minutes because I did a billion actions. You're doing the small, limited amount of things, right. Which I think when I explained it that way feels like, oh, that sounds kind of boring. But it's like, I don't know how to say that it's not. Like, you have to trust me that it's not. It is, while it's linear, I think that can really help a newer player trying to get into these type of games where there can be some complexity and some depth to it, but they can kind of follow the linear train. Yeah. But also, if you want to maximize and be thinking about, I think how you make the game complicated is when you start working as a team. The game probably gets way harder and way faster if everyone just kind of like does their own thing and they're just, I'm going to go take care of these boxes.
Yeah.
And they're sprinting around trying to do that. Your chances of winning probably go down, and also speed probably goes up.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does that seem accurate in all the games you've played, Jason? Like, the more you work as a team, might make it longer?
For sure, because when you compare it to Pandemic, a lot of time, hey, Pandemic, I'm just gonna go over into Middle East and just take care of these viruses while you guys work together to do this. To me, in Horrified, because the board is more compact and it's easier to get from one space to the next, to be successful, you have to work together. You have to share items. You can't just kind of do your one thing in one of the corners. So it encourages even more focused discussion. Each of the times we played, there's never been something where one person just does their own thing the whole time, even with agreement, because each of our abilities helps each other. We're like, I just said, Pandemic, sometime in Pandemic games, somebody's the medic and they're just treating people. And I'm going to keep treating these viruses here. You guys go do that. Whereas in Horrified, it's more of a forcing function that you're going to have to work together. And like I said, the turns are so quick because you're talking about them. Ideally, you're talking about them. So when it comes to your turn, boom, 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 I'm done. Okay, boom, 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 I'm done. It's not one person sitting in their head. Okay, well, if I do this, I can do this. If I do this, I can do that. That drives me batty. If I do this, it's not one person thinking about it. It's y'all collectively talking about it, and then you take the action. Then the monster card comes out, and maybe you have to talk for a second. Okay, that new monster action made us do this. Okay, cool. Now we go collectively do those things. So it is a definitely one that as someone who's not a massive cooperative game player, I definitely enjoy the fact that you have to do that, right? Each of our abilities are going to have to complement each other in some way, multiple times in the game, not just once, because of how we can move across the board and how we can take our special actions and regular actions.
Yeah. And the tasks, like the mini games that you're trying to complete, are extremely well balanced in that you couldn't just do the amount of things that you have to collect in order to do the task is near impossible to do by yourself. Yeah. Like, I think about that creature from the Black Lagoon. like Jason was showing, it's this like colored, for our audio listeners, it's this colored map that has this trail that you're trying to take the boat down. And so you're discarding items to the mini game in order to progress the boat. But you can roll up with 4 items and still not progress the boat all the way to the end. Well, it's going to take you some time to collect 4 items. And in that time, the creature from the Black Lagoon is hunting some people.
Yep.
Bob, I don't know why I keep going back to him, but he's super dead. And then so someone's going to have to help refuel you while you're on the space for the items, but you can't stay there too long, because just like a movie, if we're trying to solve this issue, he's going to know something's happening. So he's coming to get you while you're helping try to fix it.
Yeah.
So you can't stay stationary too long, which I think is another, like, I really love the mechanic of how the monsters move through the board, because you can sort of bait them, moving them in certain directions, which is a cool manipulation that I feel like a lot of cooperative games don't actually have. A lot of cooperative games, you are at the mercy of, like, I think about a Pandemic. Like, if the wrong cards get drawn off the top of the deck in Pandemic, it doesn't matter how good of a player you are. It doesn't even matter what difficulty you're at. Wrong cards come off the top of the deck that are just layered right next to each other because the shuffle just stunk that game. You're dead. Like, you're just done.
Yep.
And I feel like this game gives you a lot more onus to sort of to win. Just straight up. Which I enjoy. There is more strategic element to it, which, as someone who doesn't love cooperative games ourselves, like as the Crawfords, I like that. I like that a lot.
Totally. I had a thought when we were in that. I had a thought and I just blanked because I was listening harder because I don't want to miss that. But what was I going to say? Oh my gosh. Okay, that's not very good podcast talking. I'm just being very transparent because I had a thought that I really want to go on. So I'm trying to remember what I wanted to say about that. Okay. Dead air is terrible. I'll keep talking. Oh, I know what it was. What is fun? I like, I'm just kind of jumping to randomness here, but it's all integrated. I like the we talk about sometimes randomness is good, sometimes it's not. The randomness of the biggest randomness of this is those items that come out. So when you pull a monster card, it tells you how many items to pull from the bag, the little tokens, and where to put them. Or the token may say where they go. Either way. And so the randomness, it could be a 1 yellow or it could be a 2 yellow. So it could be they really get pulled really well or they get pulled not as well. They're not necessarily detrimental the way Pandemic can be detrimental with the bad pulls. Those pulls there are not as detrimental, but I love the randomness and I love the crunchiness of trying to figure out with Dracula, we need 6 red. Right. And we pulled a bunch of yellow, but there's red on that side of the board. So let's go over there. I like how they use that to make the game simpler. There's some themes because it may have a stake or a vial or a gun on there, but where they brought it down to just colors and numbers so it's easier to follow without being this super crunchy game of trying to go find the hidden stake behind the rock in the back of the woods. That's basically what we're doing, but it's making it easier and more accessible to multiple folks. And I like that something that seems so benign actually makes the game flow really well and really clean for both gamers like us as well as new gamers as well. You're like, hey, we need red that equals up to 6. How do we do that? Right. Mm-hmm. A new gamer understands the concept. Well, there's a red 2 and there's a red 4 and I already have a red 1. Well, that's red 7. So whatever that is, you can see what you have. The other thing too, it's open information for everybody. Like everything you have is open so we can see what each other person has. So you can start kind of working through what the possibilities are within those things. And one other real cool, from when we're talking about a gameplay, a game design function, those monsters. So the monster cards come out and there's little icons on there to indicate what the monster's doing. But sometimes the icon will come out of a monster that's not even in your game because you use the entire monster deck every game. So that randomness, you can just have really good luck. Like we could be playing Dracula in the Black Lagoon, the creature Black Lagoon, and a monster card that says a monster, the Mummy, and Frankenstein do something. I'm like, oof. Just wipe my head. Nothing happens this time. That's great because it happened at the perfect time. Or you could have, oh, wow, Dracula's really angry this game. He's going to attack 4 times in a row. Dracula. That level of randomness, because the game is so quick, does not bother me. Because any game with chance and randomness, you could just have the stars line and be bad, right? But if it's that bad for you, the game's going to be over quick. And like you said, okay, let's do it again. Let's do it again, randomize it up, and play it as well because it's because of the like I said, the good tension and the working together as a team to try to solve the puzzle.
Yeah. And when I think about the replayability of this game, to kind of head there, I think about that because there are so many combinations and you can play on so many different difficulty levels. If this was a game that you have a collective group of people, I think about a friend who I have met through the Lorcana community. I bought a card from him and I went to his house to pick up the card. And he was like, dude, if you ever want to play cooperative games, we play cooperative games every Wednesday night. Come on over. And I was like, okay, that's good to know. Because we just, with my wife, who similar to Elizabeth, just doesn't enjoy cooperative games, they just don't really hit the board they don't hit the table that often at our house. So I thought, okay, have you guys played Horrified? Talk to them a little bit about it. But I could see if your gaming community really loves cooperative games, then you could say, hey, we're going to play at the base level. We're going to play all of the monsters. And then we're going to go up a difficulty and we're going to play all of the monsters. And then we're going to go up a difficulty and play all the, like, right. You could do that. You could play it in the combination of these two at this level is actually, like, for instance, at the medium difficulty, Frankenstein plus Dracula is actually easier at the medium difficulty than the Wolfman plus the Invisible Man. Okay. You get to learn those things as you go along, or you just find that you really love the puzzle of Frankenstein and Bride. So therefore you want to work that into all the different games.
Yep.
I think that replayability is really, really fun. And then with all cooperative games, the moment that you add a new player into the mix, it changes the experience entirely.
Yep.
Because especially if no one quarterbacks, how that person's going to play changes everything about the game.
Yep. And I realize many of the many board game reviewers, content creator board game reviewers, love cooperative games. Most of the ones I follow really love them because they love the community aspect of working together. And I acknowledge it's a whole world of games that I don't actively get involved in, but to the point, with the right crew, community cooperative games are great with your family who you're helping teach. So we played, Forbidden Desert and Forbidden Island many, many, many times when our kids were small. Castle Panic, another great one that we played a ton when our kids were smaller. That to teach you how to. Pandemic was one we played. Like, so these type of cooperative games, Horrified is a good one for a family game or your gaming group that you just want to have fun and learn stuff together, right? And learn how people can work in that dynamic. I wouldn't necessarily always want to play. For me, I said that in a game group, I'd want to play with people I know. I don't necessarily want to jump into a cooperative game with people I have no clue about because you just never know. And it may turn into a really bad experience for everybody. But for a crew you like, for your family, can't emphasize Horrified enough. It's such a good one for, like, I don't even know what does the box say for the age? I'll see what the box says for the age 10 and up, like probably younger than that for you, your kids. Yeah. Ryder at 6 could have easily played this game with us because everything's open information. He's not having to privately think about stuff. So, yeah.
Production wise, I think it's really well produced. It's Universal Monsters. So I think about this game. I'm pretty confident, and I could be way off on this. I'm pretty confident you could buy this if you went to Universal. I think you can buy this in City Walk, and there's a world that you can probably buy it in some of the shops in Universal Studios. Because when we played it, I had just been recently to Halloween Horror Nights, and I remember looking at the box and being like, that looks so familiar. Like, where did I just see this? And I think that the art is like very... If you are someone, my mom is someone like this. She doesn't love horror movies, but she loves monster movies. And so because of that, she would eat this game up. She would have a fantastic time with it. Because if you love the Universal monsters, if you're excited for Epic Universe and you're going to the Dark World or whatever it's called there, if that's the universe of all of them that you're most excited about, this game is right up your alley. And I think you're going to love every bit of the art and the production. And even there's minis in it. And anytime minis are included, that's a huge plus for so many people because you can be basic like me and never paint a single mini in your life because it stresses me out to hold a paintbrush that's that small. But then there are folks like Will, who is Jason's son-in-law, who it jazzes him up. to paint some minis.
Yep. They have, because they got, so there are multiple versions of Horrified. There's 3 out right now: American Monsters, Greek Monsters, and World of Monsters. Like Greek Monsters is Medusa, World of and the Greek monsters from that level. American Monsters include like, oh my gosh, I can't, I'm blanking on them, but World of Monsters include like Cthulhu and the Sphinx and other stuff. And a D&D Horrified is on the way. I looked it up. You can pre-order on Target right now. It comes out on 10 August. And right now, Target has a buy one, get one 50 off. So I may actually just buy 2 copies of that. One of them would be 50 off. Anyway, but Will has painted his American Monsters version of the game, and they look amazing. Yeah. For many painters, it's very cool, and even feels a little more thematic on that level.
Bigfoot, Mothman, Chupacabra.
Chupacabra, that was, or the American Monsters. Yeah. And the game plays the same, but there's a little bit of extra. Like, I think American Monsters is a little harder. I can't remember how Hannah and Will described it, but the base game, the basics of the game changed just a little bit to make it a little more challenging, but they liked it. And then I don't know if they played Greek Monsters yet, because Greek Monsters was some insane deal for like $10 for Black Friday. So I bought it just to buy it, and they like Horrified a lot. So I just gave them Greek Monsters as well. The one thing we mentioned a couple times, but the player aid, even though it's basic, is really, really good, because every player aid has a hero face that tells you exactly what the actions are. And the backside's the monster face, which tells you exactly what to do, as well as even the icons of what each of the monsters are, because it's easy. Okay, the fire thing is, or Frankenstein is this, and Dracula is that. So you know when it shows an icon on a card exactly what that is. Player aids are great. And also what's cool, I like Ravensburger typically has amazing production anyway. I mean, they're a big company. They do really good things. We talked about Horrified. Everything about the production of Horrified was good between the player aids and everything else. What's cool about the art's kind of campy, but campy in the best way possible, like really, really good. But on the back of every monster, so this is if you're playing the monster, for those who are watching YouTube, I'm holding up the monster card, tells you what to do and how to defeat the monster. But on the back of every one is how to set up all of the monsters. So that way, this can be sitting out, Wolfman, but then I look on the back and it tells me how to set up all the monsters. So it's the fact they use that level of using everything they have to help out is just amazing. A lot of other board game makers do that. The back of a card you use for one thing has instructions for other stuff. I think that level of production is just fantastic.
Yeah. Anytime that we're making my life easier while I'm setting up a game, instantly going to put me in a better mood. If I'm having to pull out this massive rule book to try to figure out, okay, like when setup takes me 20 to 30 minutes to get a game ready, and we haven't even taught the game yet, already a little stressful at times for, oh no, like that. You know what? I'll go ahead and say a game that we love dearly on this podcast, Quacks. Sometimes Quacks, that setup can take a minute to get all the pieces in the right places, get your book set out, get your bags built, whatever it may be. Fantastic game, fantastic experience. Yeah. Anytime we can make it easier, I'm here for it. So, definitely. Jason, you want to dive into cookie scale, or you got any final thoughts?
No. Yep. Well, one thing we will say is $45 on Amazon. That's just the MSRP. Seems a little high, but between the minis and the plastic and a ton of standees, because I'll kind of hold up the bag, but every single villager has an individual standee, and your characters have it. So there's like 20 or more cardboard standees with a little plastic pieces. So there's a lot of plastic in the game. The minis. So it is the MSRP standard price is $45, which is a little high. I acknowledge that, even for a really good game. But you keep an eye out for the sales. You can find it for. When I looked back when I bought ours a few years ago, it was like $30 on sale. So you can 30 to 35. You can, when you catch it right, you'll catch it at that level. So I'll jump into my rating first. Like after we played it, last time you were here, it was really high. And, the further away you get from stuff, the reality of it comes in, right? And so it's definitely not a double doozy, but the gameplays of it could be double doozy-esque, right? I don't know if I've ever used that analogy, but there's no doubt the one we had was definitely, the gameplay was a double doozy-esque game. Loved it. We had a great time. We worked together. Things came out well, suspenseful. Some things went our way. Some things didn't. We pulled out the win, right? That gameplay was great. And so the gameplay that we had, and when I think back to previous ones, it's the same way. But overall, in the pantheon of all the games I have in the cooperative games, it still comes in at a chocolate chip for me. Like it's still pretty high. It's not anything low. Like I don't pull out Horrified a lot, but I would never, like, pulling it out would never bother me at all. Right. Because it's that much fun and I enjoy the compelling nature of the game. So a chocolate chip for me.
Yeah. It's so funny that you say that, because as I was mentally prepping for the podcast, Jason does an incredible job putting our show notes together. And so I can read through, and it helps this discussion become way more organized. I think about, dude, when we go back to some of the first few episodes, we were just firing from the hip on hey, here we go. How do we want to talk about the game? So hopefully you guys have noticed that we're trying to improve as podcasters, but I literally had thought about it in the world of it's not a double doozy, but man, is that a double doozy memory?
Yeah.
Is how I had thought about it. So that's so funny that you're it's some of the game experiences. Yeah. So, I mean, that's it for me. It is a chocolate chip that easily can lead to some double doozy. When I think of a double doozy moment, it has inside joke potential. It has those, when we talked about on episode 40 or 30, whatever our games we played together, when I think about that game and we talk about our top moment of Elizabeth slamming down that 7, it was the right number. She predicted it in the crew. One of my top memories in board gaming ever. That's the kind of moments we're talking about, where you're going to enjoy Horrified when you play it. And I think amongst cooperative games, it is one that I would happily play over and over again. There are cooperative games that I kind of have to be in the right mood to not, if you're hey, would you play this game? There are certain cooperative games that I probably would even just try to be yeah, how would you feel about if we played this instead? And maybe even try to walk you in another direction. But this one is definitely one that I could see you loving it. And there is some terror, like I said, because you really are. It's hard to say that you're living out a movie, but you are. Yeah. And it captures it so well. So I appreciate Jason finding that quote to sum it up, because that is so accurate. It's the most accurate description we've ever had of a game. I will go ahead and tell you that. So very much enjoyed it. But Jason, any final thoughts as we wrap it up for this week's episode?
No, it was a good discussion. What's funny is a couple different times we referenced game nights or whatnot. I talked to Dakota and Nate, and I'm actually going to finally start a gaming group here very roughly. The goal is once a month, just have people come over. Gamers that I know, it'd be Nate and Amy if they can find childcare, Nate's wife, because she's played plenty of games. Dakota, Marissa plays. If Brad can come, right? It's just to focus on games, and we have lots of people here. Great. If we only have enough for a table, it's good. But I'm gonna try to just finally break down and start doing a game night, because I have all these games that just don't get played. I don't buy. Yeah. I've backed off a lot of buying games because I don't get to play a lot. But if I have a forcing function where it's once a month. In a perfect world, okay, if it gets good enough, everybody's enjoying it, well, maybe we do it every other week, every 2 weeks, do a gaming night where we get together, preset the games, we know what we're going to do, and then they can start bringing their friends to add in as well. So our goal is to Horrified's a perfect one for that. A 4-man, 5-person, hey, you've ever played a cooperative game? Maybe you're a gamer, let's go. If you haven't played Horrified, let's play Horrified. So we're going to start working on a game night here. We were going to try to do it this week, but just life got in the way, because my goal is to do it on opposite week of Bards, because I have so many. I do disc golf league every Monday night this summer, and every other Tuesday or Wednesday we do Bards. And so the opposite week of Bards, I'm going to try to do the game night, at least try to get to that point. So, and maybe one of the times we're up here, we'll do the game night when you're here. So you'll be part of the game night as well. So
that would be an honor. That would be an honor. So we appreciate you guys for listening. Thank you so much for being a part of the Bards of the Board community. We're so happy to have you at our table, metaphorically. And for those of you that listen that are friends, close friends, happy to have you at the table physically as well. So we hope you have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you guys next time for our interview episode. Hopefully we got to figure out who it's going to be, but I promise you it's going to be an awesome one. So we'll see you guys then.